Good day, class. Welcome to another edition of Scholars Universal Secondary School online chemistry class. I am Solomon, your online chemistry teacher. In our last lecture, we discussed fluorine, the first member of the halogen family. Now, under fluorine, we talked about its occurrence in nature, how it can be prepared, its physical and chemical properties, and some important uses of fluorine. Here is the assignment of the last lecture, and here are the solutions to the assignment. Now, in our lecture today, we are discussing chlorine, the second member of the halogen family. Now, under chlorine, we're going to discuss its occurrence in nature, its laboratory preparation, its industrial preparation, its physical and chemical properties, and how chlorine gas can be tested for in the lab, and some important uses of chlorine. Then after that, we're going to take some important compounds of chlorine, which are the hydrogen chloride and the chlorides formed by metals. Now, to the introduction and occurrence of chlorine. Chlorine is the second member of the halogen family, and it was formed from the Greek name chloros, which means greenish yellow. Now, the chlorine gas was discovered by Schlee in 1774 when he observed a greenish yellow gas in one of his particles. Chlorine is not found freely in nature due to its high reactivity, but it is found in its combined state with other elements. For example, in the sodium chloride, which is NaCl, the number table salt we use at home. Also in silver chloride, AgCl, and also in carnallite, which is KCl.MgCl2.6H2O. Now, please take note that carnallite can be rewritten as KMgCl3.6H2O. That's the preparation of chlorine. Now, we are going to discuss the laboratory preparation and the industrial preparation. But for now, we are going to discuss its laboratory preparation. Now, chlorine is prepared in the lab by the action of oxidizing agents on concentrated hydrochloric acid. Now, the most commonly used oxidizing agent is the manganese 4 oxide, which is MnO2. Now, the oxidizing agent is placed in a round bottom flask, as we have in this diagram. The MnO2 is placed in a round bottom flask, while the conc hydrochloric acid is added through a Teasle funnel. This is a Teasle funnel. As you can see, the conc hydrochloric acid is added through this funnel. And after that, the mixture is heated and the chlorine gas is liberated. Now, please take note that as the chlorine gas is being liberated, some hydrogen chloride gas is also produced from the mixture. Now, this is the equation showing the reaction. The MnO2 on hydrochloric acid forming the chlorine gas. Now, the chlorine gas produced is collected through down delivery method of gas collection, which is also the same thing as upward displacement method. Now, we can also use potassium tetraozo manganate 7 instead of making use of manganese 4 oxide. But when we use potassium tetraozo manganate 7, heating is not required. Please, let's take note of that. Now, let me explain some important things about this diagram that we have here in front of us. Now, after the heat is applied here, and the mixture of the chlorine gas and the hydrogen chloride gas is produced, the mixture is passed through this pipe and directed into the water, and the pipe is directed into this water in this beaker just to dissolve all the hydrogen chloride gas produced. Because hydrogen chloride gas is very soluble in water, while chlorine gas is moderately soluble in water. Now, the chlorine gas continues its journey through this pipe, and this pipe is directed into this concentrated H2SO4, which is the concentrated tetraososulfate 6 acid. Now, the reason why the pipe is directed into this acid is to remove all the water molecules which accompany the chlorine gas from this compartment. Then our chlorine gas is collected dry. Now, to the industrial preparation of chlorine. Chlorine gas is prepared industrially by the electrolysis of fused chloride through the Kastner-Kellner process. Now, the most commonly used fused chloride is the brine, and brine is a concentrated solution of aqueous sodium chloride. Please, let's take note of that. The brine is a concentrated solution of aqueous sodium chloride. And this is a diagram showing the Kastner-Kellner process, and it is commonly called the Kastner-Kellner cell, and this is where the electrolytic process takes place. Now we've made mention of the electrolyte, which is the concentrated solution of aqueous sodium chloride. Now the cathode used for the electrolytic process is iron, while the anode used is graphite, which is a form of carbon. As you can see in this diagram, this is the iron cathode and while this is the graphite anode. Now the system is divided into compartments by a partition. And these are partitions, the partition, this is partition. Now this system is divided into three compartments. You have the first compartment, the second, and the third, or vice versa. Now mercury is always present in the system because it serves as both the anode and the cathode in different compartments. Now this is the mercury, this is mercury. Now as you can see in this compartment, we have no iron cathode here. So the mercury here serves as the iron cathode. But in this compartment, we have no graphite anode. The mercury here serves as the graphite anode. Also in this compartment, we don't have the iron cathode. The mercury serves as the cathode for this compartment. Please let's take note. Now, the sodium and hydrogen ion will migrate to the cathode, while the chloride ion and the hydroxide ion will migrate to the anode. Now, the hydrogen ion and the hydroxide ion are from the water molecule present in the electrolyte. Now, sodium is preferentially discharged over hydrogen at the mercury electrode, which forms sodium amalgam, which is then dissolved in water. That means the sodium amalgam is then dissolved in water to remove the mercury, and in the process, sodium hydroxide is formed and hydrogen gas is released. Now, the mercury is later returned to the system. Now, the chlorine gas is discharged over oxygen at the anode, the oxygen from the hydroxide ion. And the chlorine gas is discharged over that oxygen at the anode and then collected through a pipe. As you can see here, this is the pipe in which the chlorine gas is being collected over oxygen. Now this is the summary of the Castagnettiana cell. Now at the cathode, sodium is being produced, while at the anode, chlorine gas is being liberated. As to the physical property of chlorine. Chlorine is a greenish yellow poisonous gas with a pungent smell. And chlorine gas is 2.5 times heavier than air and it is moderately soluble in water. Now under pressure, chlorine readily liquefies. That means chlorine changes to liquid under pressure. That means when compressed, it readily changes to liquid. And to the chemical property of chlorine. Now chlorine is very reactive, as we've said before in its introduction, and it has great affinity for electron. Now which makes it a strong oxidizing agent, but not as fluorine. Now we said fluorine is when we discussed fluorine, we said fluorine is the most reactive element of all the non-metal of the periodic table. In our first lecture, we made mention of that. No, when we were discussing fluorine, we made mention of that. Now we're going to discuss some chemical property of chlorine in this lecture. We're not going to discuss all the property. We're going to take just only two of the property. Now the first one we're going to discuss is reaction with hydrogen. Now due to its high affinity for hydrogen, chlorine readily combines with hydrogen to form fumes of hydrogen chloride. Now this hydrogen gas reacting with chlorine gas to give you 2HCl. That means hydrogen chloride gas is being produced. Now the reaction is very vigorous in bright sunlight but slow in diffused light. That means the reaction is catalyzed in the presence of bright sunlight. Let's take note of that also. And so the second chemical property of chlorine that we're going to discuss for this class is the bleaching action of chlorine. Now bleaching powder is prepared by passing chlorine into a cold dry calcium hydroxide, which is also known as the slake lime. Now this is the slake lime and the chlorine gas which is being passed into the slake lime to produce the bleaching powder, which is CaOCl2, and some water molecule is being formed. Now the bleaching powder readily gives out chlorine on treatment with dilute acid. Now this the bleaching powder reacting with HCl, this is hydrochloric acid, forming the calcium chloride and liberating chlorine gas, as you can see. Now please take note that we can also make use of other dilute acid like the H2SO4 and the HNO3. But the main thing we are concerned about is the liberation of the chlorine gas from the reaction. So let's take note of that. Now the chlorine that is formed or that is produced from this reaction would react with water to form the orthochlorate 1 acid, which is also known as the hypochlorous acid. Now the hypochlorous in the process, hydrochloric acid is also formed in the process. Now this is the equation showing the reaction. The Cl2 plus water, that means chlorine reacting with water to form the hydrochloric acid and the hypochlorous acid, which is also the orthochlorate 1 acid. Now the orthochlorate 1 acid readily decompose to give oxygen and hydrochloric acid. Now the oxygen produced is the one that causes the bleaching. Now this is what we have here. The hypochlorous acid plus dye, that means plus the cloth or the material you want to bleach. Now the acid readily decompose to form the hydrochloric acid and oxygen. Now the oxygen readily combine with dye to form a colorless compound, making the material to be what? To be bleached. That means the bleaching action of chlorine is done by oxidation. As you can see here, the dye plus the oxygen, after undergoing their reaction, they form a colorless compound from this equation, as you can see from this equation. Now, in bleaching, the material is soaked in a suspension of the bleaching powder and later in an acid. Now, the acid liberates chlorine from the bleaching powder, as we've said before in all this. And the liberated chlorine reacts with water to form the orthochlorate 1 acid, as we've said here. Now, the acid reacts with oxygen. The acid releases oxygen for bleaching. And that's why I said the bleaching action of chlorine is done by oxidation because oxygen is the one causing the bleaching. Now, excess acid, please let's take note of that. Sorry, excess acid is removed by washing, and the remaining chlorine is also removed by treating with sodium hydrogen tetrasulfate 6. The excess acids produced from this reaction and also from this reaction is removed by treatment with sodium hydrogen tetrasulfate 6 and also the excess chlorine gas produced. Now we also have some other bleaching agent that we can use instead of using chlorine gas. You can make use of hydrogen peroxide, so we can make use of the sodium chloride, and also we can also make use of sulfur 4 oxide, which is also a gas. Now we've come to the end of today's lecture, and I have some assignments for you guys today also. And please submit the assignment to the given email given to you guys to submit your assignment. Hope to meet you again with the next edition of the Scholars Universal Secondary School online chemistry class. I am Solomon, your online chemistry teacher. Thank you.